right, everybody. Thank you for joining us again for another edition of the Choose Your Path podcast. Today, we are going to have Nick from Old School joining us, talking to us about full-time Pokemon business at home. Hopefully, he had some really good information to give us as we move forward through the questions. Of course, today we have 9 questions that we're going to be talking to Nick about, going through his path in Pokemon. Nick, would you like to do an introduction of yourself?
Oh, hey everyone, Old School Pokemon here. I'm Nick. I have been into Pokemon, or I guess I grew up in the 90s. I'm 31 right now. So I grew up in the 90s, typical 90s kid. Got out of Pokemon in the early 2000s with Team Rocket and kind of forgot about it, and then got back into Pokemon fairly early on, to 2009-ish. And have just been kind of growing an eBay business and collecting at the same time from 2009 up until now. So I've been having a lot of fun with it and love being back in the hobby.
Yeah, it's fun being back, that's for sure. Because like I said, like I tell people, I've always started in 99 and I went to about 06. And then I stopped.
Okay, so you lasted a long time.
I lasted a long time. I actually made it all the way through the EX era, and then, like I said, I didn't go into Diamond and Pearl, so I was
okay.
Gold. Last little things that I used for even tournament playing that were Gold Stars, that kind of generation, which was a lot of fun.
Yep.
That's why I kind of laughed when I came back. All the changes that have happened, though, came back in 2019, and it's like, whoa, what are the full? You know, you got full arts. It's like, whoa. Now, what is this? You started seeing all these new cards and tag teams come out because I came back right at Unbroken Bonds, and it was just funny because tag team cards were out now.
Yep,
oh yeah,
yep.
the changes that have been done in the hobby in that amount of time was just amazing to me.
Yeah, completely different coming back into it.
Yeah, no, the cards are completely different, and the chase had completely changed because now hollows weren't worth anything, and that was a weird thing. It's like, here I am sleeving hollows.
Nobody gets excited about a hollow anymore.
I know. When I came back, it's like you pulled a hollow, like, yes, you're sleeving that thing, like putting it away in a top loader. It's like, yeah, this thing's safe. Why did I do that? It's just funny the things that have changed in this hobby, that's for sure.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So, well, like I said, the purpose of these interviews, of course, is to go through a list of questions that I try and keep similar between all the different paths so that people can see the directions that you have taken to be successful in your end of the Pokemon spectrum. Said there's thousands of different directions that you can go in the Pokemon spectrum. And this just gives you an idea if you're new to the hobby or even if you're old to the hobby to see which kind of directions you may want to try, or if you have interest in them to see if it's something that will work for you. So once again, we're going to got 9 questions today, Nick, that we're going to be going and working our way through. And today we're going to start with the first one, which is going to be, what did you do before you became a full-time Pokemon business?
So, like I briefly mentioned, I started out in 2009, just kind of stumbling upon my old childhood collection. Had my dad help me sell it on eBay and fell in love with eBay, selling on eBay. So I ended up buying another Pokemon collection to kind of get into reselling. And I kind of slowly grew that, buying and selling Pokemon cards part-time, really very part-time, from 2009 up until like 2014, 2013-ish, 2013, 2014. So throughout high school and college, and then about halfway through college, I said, I'm completely done with this. It was getting too tough between going to school full-time, working part-time, and running an eBay business. Business was the one that I was making the least amount of money on. So I decided to completely give up Pokemon. I sold off everything that I had at the time, shut down my eBay account, and said, I'll never get back into that, because now I'm finishing up with school. I'm going to start working full time, and Pokemon's for kids. So I'm moving away from that. And so I gave it up. I finished up with school in 2015. And I graduated, and my full-time job was working on a cargo ship as a on the deck side, so more so on the top of the ship, basically driving the ship. So with that job, I would work 3 to 4 months straight, and then I would come home and be able to have 3 to 4 months on vacation. And so graduated from school, left for my first shipping job, worked 4 months, came home. The first couple of weeks were absolutely incredible. Not having your bank account be full of money from the first time working in an actual adult job, not having any responsibilities whatsoever, because I had the next 4 months off, whatever. So the first couple of weeks were really fun, but then it got to be very, very boring. Quickly realizing that everyone else is working during the week, so I needed to find something to occupy my time during these months that I had off. And one of the first thoughts that came to me was to get back into Pokemon, buying and selling on eBay, because I really, really enjoyed that back in the day. So I very quickly hopped on eBay, created a new eBay account, bought it was like a $3,000 collection, just various WotC hollows, EX era cards, a lot of bulk in there as well. So I bought that collection, and that was the beginning of my new current eBay business. And so I did that from the beginning of 2016 through towards the end of 2020, when COVID and the Pokemon boom happened. So it was kind of like a slow growth, for those 4 years or so. And then with 2020, I was away working on a cargo ship. I left for work the beginning of June, expecting it would be a quick trip, 2-3 months. And it turned out that COVID started to get really bad during that time, and no foreign countries wanted us to get off the ship to go home to do a crew change. So I was stuck on the ship until we returned back to the US, which ended up being a 6-month trip. So I got back home in November of 2020, which was really rough because during that time period, we had the whole Pokemon boom. Logan Paul coming in, doing his first edition box breaks, the PSA backlog, and everything else that was going on during that time period. And I was away working on a ship for that time period. We didn't have eBay, but I was able to go on Facebook and check out the Facebook groups and see everyone talking about pricing, and seeing all these prices just absolutely explode at that time. And so that made me really anxious to want to get home and want to get back into Pokemon. And so I cut it was something where I had been thinking about going full time prior to this trip. But that trip really made me start to think about going full time and wanting to go full time with this. So I got home from that trip, and that's when I decided to go full time with Pokemon.
Yeah, and that would be very difficult, especially if you have already, even in a part-time business, being stuck away from being able to do anything with it during that time period because of all the things that occurred. Even myself, coming back in 2019, like I said in previous ones, didn't have a big stock up at that point because I was in a slow growth pattern, and that's where I kind of always laugh, is that if you could see the future, I would have stocked up on about 100 times more than what I did on everything, because it was like not a big rush. I'll just buy this. I said that's where I was laughing about black and white booster boxes. I always figured I'd go and start from like black and white and work forward with the modern stuff. Just buy one booster box of everything and kind of get a collection going of that stuff. And I actually had all the black and white booster boxes in a cart, and I was about ready to buy them. And I was just kind of holding off on it, like, it's not a big rush. And I mean, it was like $1,800 to do it. And it's like, yeah, it's not a big rush. There's 13 booster boxes and neat things. And I'm like, okay, whenever I get, the next thing I know, it's like everything went crazy and I forgot about them. When I went back, they're all sold out. I'm like, yeah, well,
oh yeah.
I'm not doing this for $1,800 anymore. That's gone. That ship sailed, no pun intended. But
yep, exactly.
But yeah, it was just one of the funny things. Is like, taking your time, and I wasn't in any rush when I started back. And it was just like, sometimes it's just like, like you said, you didn't have enough stock. Weren't big enough at that point when it happened. Or like for yourself, you probably had a lot of stuff available, but you couldn't get to it because you were way away from it and didn't have the ability to do anything about it. So it's always a catch-22 someplace a lot of times.
Yeah, exactly.
So. Yeah, that would just be rough, seeing it all happen and not being able to get to it. That's for sure.
It was really tough. It was really tough for sure. And then Yeah, I was constantly thinking about it towards the end of that trip, and it was basically on that trip that I decided I wanted to give it a shot and go full time. And then when I actually did get home, it was it was really nerve wracking because I didn't know what was going on. I had to relearn the entire market at that
Oh
point.
yeah.
Because before I left, it was pre boom. Stuff was starting to tick up,
Yep.
but it really wasn't happening when I left. And then when I came back home, everything was worth way more than when I had left.
Yep. Yeah, and it just went absolutely ballistic because what, December was roughly the peak. So you got home right before the peak trying to figure everything out and get everything in position. So
Yep, yep.
yeah, no, a lot to do in a short amount of time, that's for sure.
Absolutely.
So, well, leading off of that question, of course, the next one I usually ask everybody is, what progress did you make in Pokemon business before going full time? And I know you kind of
So
answered that, but sometimes a little bit more detail on the kind of the steps you
yeah,
took.
so it was mainly slow growth for me from 2016 up until 2019. I was mainly going putting everything I made from eBay back into the business, buying more and more collections over the years. So it was a very slow growth for me. 2016 to 2019. Just kind of reinvesting everything that I was making in back into Pokemon, and then also buying some collections using the money that I was making for my full-time job. So unlike someone like Dan Catch 'em All Collectibles, I definitely wasn't someone who started out with like $5,000 or whatever amount of money and built my business up from there. Was definitely putting everything back into the business and using some outside money as well. So kind of started building it up, kind of like a snowball effect, getting bigger and bigger, being able to purchase more and more, selling more and more as well. And I forget exactly. Sometime at some point in 2019, it was starting to become uh, like a long term goal of mine to try and go full time with Pokemon. And I was telling myself, let me start saving up some money, seeing about buying more and more collections, and hopefully one day in the next 5 or so years I'll be able to go full time with Pokemon. So 2019 I became more aggressive about buying collections, and I did that through 2019, the beginning of 2020, and like I said, the middle of 2020 I left for my shipping job. At the time I was fully expecting to come back home, do eBay for 3-4 months, and then go back on ship. And it was really kind of a kind of a rushed decision on my part. It worked out well in the end for me, but that, like I said, that COVID trip on the ship really ruined shipping for me. It took all the fun out of being away on the ship, because you couldn't get off the ship at all. So it was just the work aspect that was left for me. So I kind of made a rush decision, told myself I got to give Pokemon a chance, since this whole boom happened. So I thought I had acquired enough inventory to make it work for at least the short term. And so I kind of just told myself, while I'm young, don't have too many responsibilities, don't have a family or anything like that relying upon me. I'm gonna give this a shot and see if it works. And if it doesn't work, I'll be able to go right back to work. Because fortunately, with the shipping job that I had, it's fairly easy to get right back into work and start off with your same salary. So it's not like once you leave the job, you'd have to start back over again and work your way up. So that part was fortunate. But yeah, that was pretty much it. Told myself I'll give it a shot, see how it goes, and fortunately, it has worked out well for me. I did promise myself when I did go full time that I would cut back on my personal collection. So I definitely have done that. I've since sold a lot of stuff from my personal collection. Which some stuff I wish I had held on to for longer. Some stuff I'm glad I got rid of at the time. Like I sold my base set booster boxes pretty much right at the peak, which was awesome there.
Yeah.
But I also sold my Poncho Pikachu boxes back last year, so before they exploded.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was the biggest thing for me is just giving a shot and seeing how it goes. I had built up quite a bit of inventory beforehand, so that definitely helped there. And then cutting back on my own collection.
Yeah, and that's, the funny thing is the more and more of these interviews that I do, it's kind of an interesting thing that it seems like a lot of at least the YouTube personalities, a lot of us that have been here for a little bit longer, had seen paths to going full time,
Mhm.
way before the boom even happened. So even yourself, I mean, it's not like it's people think that because the boom happened that now you were able to go full time because of that, or that gave you it gave you a quicker means to an end. But a
Yep.
lot of people were already making this decision that, hey, there is enough out there if I work at it to be able to do this full time. I don't have to, like you said, it would have been a 5-year goal. But with COVID and with the boom and everything that happened and what's going on in the market now, it was accelerated to, a year. But overall, the goals were still there for individuals to be able to go full time, which is, really interesting when you think about the hobby. A lot of people have this picture of Pokemon was dead prior to 2020, and all of a sudden Logan Paul came and it became this big thing. And even myself in 2019, Pokemon wasn't dead. It was
Oh yeah.
a very tight group of people, but, it was a very niche market. But it was there. It's always been there. It's just it's and varying degrees and how much is available. But
Yep.
yeah, there's been paths to go full time in Pokemon even prior to that, which is where, if you're looking at the full time aspect of it, and I know a lot of people get concerned about a market and what's happening in a market, that this could drop out. But just because it drops
Yep.
out doesn't mean the whole niche market's going to disappear. And there's still the opportunities for people and individuals to continue to move in a full time position inside of the Pokemon TCG.
Exactly. You just have to. The biggest thing is just adapting to what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
When I first started out, I was back in 2009. I spent like a year, maybe 2 years, just dealing with base, jungle, and fossil, and then I slowly branched out into WotC. And then it wasn't until 2016 when I got back into it that I started to branch out into the EX era. And then it was like 2016, 2017 when I started getting in with distribution and starting to buy the modern product. And now modern has become a growing part of my business.
Yeah, and right now, personally, if you were going to be looking at full time or really interested in going full time, I think that Modern's probably got a really great opportunity to do so, as we're seeing with box breakers and pack breakers and that kind of stuff. It is pretty much
Mhm.
probably got the most availability for options inside of it.
Yeah, definitely.
If you're looking for that growth and that opportunity.
Yep.
No. All right. Going on number 3, we're going to kind of skip it because you've already talked about your decision on why you went full time. so that was the next question: is what was your final decision that made you go full time? Of course, going on your shipping trip and being stuck with COVID. So
Yep. That was it.
that was it. That did it. COVID trip did it. So we're gonna go on to the 4th question, which is estimated hours worked to income per month in Pokemon before you went full time. And I like doing these 2 questions because it kind of shows people what you made before and what you make now. And then
Yep.
kind of shows that there are either you can break even, you might be a little bit under, but certain factors kind of change that allow you to do that. So
Yep. Exactly. So for me, Pokemon it's always been my quote unquote full-time job, because back before I was full-time with Pokemon in 2020, I was still full-time in the sense that when I was home from my shipping job, it was the vast majority of what I did. So I still considered it kind of a full-time job. It wasn't to the extent that it is now, but it was still a good bit of hours. I would say probably like 40 hours a week. I was putting into it back then. So I was taking it seriously, and it was a good chunk of time every single week. But at the same time, it was a job, but it was a really fun job that I really enjoyed doing. It varied. I would say 2019 it was probably like an extra 20 to 30,000, maybe on a good year 30. Average would be about 20,000 a year. Doing Pokemon for 6 months of the year, and then working on the ship for 6 months of the year.
So, I mean, that's relatively, with doing it full time when we're off the shift, that's definitely, good numbers coming through. Even back in
Yeah,
2019, I mean, considering the niche market was so much smaller back then, there's definitely, showing that there was opportunity to still make with what you were doing back then, make $40,000 roughly a year if you were working full time, just as a 40 to 60 somewhere in that range. So
exactly.
it's a good
Yep.
starting point just to give people an idea. Even when the markets weren't as great as they are now, there were still opportunities to be able to make those kind of incomes to keep you in a full time position. So, and that of course leads into the question number 5, which is how many estimated hours worked to income per month with Pokemon after you went full time. Because I know a lot of times we work more than 40 hours sometimes doing these paths when you become full time in it. Because just like me and HVAC in my business, I own a business, so I work a lot more than 40 hours a week when it's all said and done. I get paid for 40, but I work a heck of a lot
Yes.
more than 40.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, with the business that I'm doing now, obviously it's all full-time Pokemon, but I'm also growing the business a lot more. I'm getting into doing more and more. And one thing that I've always really liked the idea of having a massive inventory of single cards. I've always like looked up to people like Rusty TCA Gaming back when he was selling singles, having like 10,000 listings listed in his eBay store. I've always wanted to be someone like that. Definitely quantity over quality. So I spend a lot of time working. It's probably 60, 70 hours a week. Every single week. I usually it's usually Monday through Friday for about 12 hours. Saturday maybe about 8 hours, and then Sunday maybe 4-ish hours on Sunday. So it's every single day of the week for the most part. Obviously taking a couple days off here and there. But I would say probably 60, 70 hours a week working. And in income wise, now it's what do we want to do there? I gotta figure it out. I figured out hourly. Hourly, it's around $26 an hour is what I'm making. So let's see, monthly would be like say 65 to 7,000 a month
Okay.
is what I'm actually profiting after everything's said and done.
Yeah.
So it's definitely increased, but the amount of time has also substantially
Yeah.
increased.
And yeah, I mean, that's just it. That's like I said, even doing a business, you work so many hours that you don't even really
Mhm.
realize, when you're an owner or like yourself, a sole proprietor or any kind of situation like that, if you have stake in it, you tend to work every day of the week, as many hours as is necessary in order to get the things completed. And like I said, I get paid a salary for $40,000 out of the business, but overall, it's I work more than that. Sometimes it's 70-hour week. Sometimes I do get lucky and it's a 45 to 50-hour week, but typically I
Yep.
average about 60 to 65 hours a week. And that's, if you want to work for yourself and be your own business person, that seems to be a pretty consistent number that you got to keep in mind if you are looking at going this direction. That you will probably be
Yep.
working 60 plus hours a week in order to keep up with your business.
Yeah. Yeah. That's the biggest thing is like I said, it's a lot of fun, but at the same time, it is a lot of work. If you don't
Yeah.
have any if you don't have any employees, which are really expensive,
Hmm.
then everything falls on you. You gotta do all the packaging every day. You gotta do all the emails every day. And having a business like the one I do, where it's a lot of quantity over quality, the packaging and the email takes up a really good portion of the day. I'm not a morning person, so I'll normally wake up at 8:30, 9 o'clock,
Yeah.
and get started right away with packaging. And by the time I'm done with packaging and emailing, it's already 1:30. And that's kind of like the beginning of my day, when I'm able to start something new and take pictures, get stuff listed, or
Yeah.
whatever. So it does take up a tremendous amount of time.
Yeah, and that's the biggest thing is too is that um, even for myself doing it part time, trying to use this as kind of a way to build my collection and try and keep it self contained is like we were talking beforehand. You always get the emails on Friday afternoon, especially if you're selling on TCG Player or some of these outside sources. They kind of have time constraints on how when you need to ship stuff, and
Mhm.
you can get a sale Friday afternoon at 9 p.m., 10 p.m., 11 p.m. And if you don't ship it by Sunday by 9 p.m., 10 p.m., or 11 p.m., you're getting a fun little email from TCG Player telling you, hey, you need to ship this immediately. And it's like, it was over the weekend. It was whatever. I was out of the house. I wasn't paying attention to Pokemon over my Pokemon sales over the weekend. So it is. I mean, that's just it. Well, even in the part-time part in the Pokemon, just doing it, like I said, I probably spend a total actually selling stuff and working and listing stuff an hour and a half a day. So I hardly spend any time in it realistically. I spend a lot of time on content creating too, which is all part of that. But it's
That takes
definitely
up a good chunk of time.
that takes more time. I actually have to give more time to that than I do to actually selling Pokemon stuff. Luckily, my wife is so kind that I can usually just send her the emails, or she'll go through the emails and make the tags and make the envelopes and get everything ready for me. So when I get
Oh, there
home,
we
all
go.
I
There we
gotta do
go.
is go dig the stuff out. Come behind me or my other spots and go dig out the stuff where it is, and then get it all into the envelopes. But
Yep.
that's a huge savings. Listing stuff takes a long period of time too. People don't realize how much time you got to spend actually listing individual things. And yeah, you can download the spreadsheets and do that and try and do them quicker, but then there's errors. You mistype something, locks up the whole spreadsheet. Yeah, I've done tried that too. So it it's a fun game.
Exactly. Exactly.
Um, all right. So the next question we got coming up here is going to be one of those kind of personal sometimes for some people, and I started this with Rock from Rock Pokemon. Is what was your make or break moment in Pokemon? And what did you do to work through it if there was one?
Um, Make or break moment. That was more so business related, I guess. For the actual business. There was a time in the when I was getting out of my old eBay business into my new eBay business, or I guess my old eBay account into my new eBay account, where had a lot of stuff going on with the family, some family stuff going on, and so I wasn't spending as much time with eBay, and so in that case, I was starting to slack on my shipments, and my account standard started to go down and down and down, and so eventually eBay started sending emails saying I had to get these account standards up, or I wouldn't be able to continue selling on eBay, and so I had to once your account goes like not below standard, but there's one like in the middle of below standard and above standard. It's really tough to get out of that position. And they put a whole bunch of limits on your account, where you can only list so many items, and you can only sell such and such a dollar amount. So I got myself into that situation, and I had to unbury myself from that situation, which was involved a lot of time emailing past customers, explaining what had going on, what had happened, getting all those old orders shipped out on time, making sure people left me good feedback, and all of that stuff. So it was a rough time period for a little bit there, trying to get my account re back on track. And so that kind of taught me how important customer service is, and how important it is to keep up with everything that you're saying you're going to do. So for example, if you have 1 day handling time, you need to ship orders out in 1 day. You need to answer customers emails in a regular time frame. You can't be letting those emails go for a couple days, a week, whatever. So I was able to kind of unbury myself, got myself back up to top rated seller, which is nice. But the biggest thing that taught me was dealing with customers, and how important customer service is, and how much of a bad position it can be if you don't follow up, and kind of follow through with what you claim you're going to do.
Yeah, and once again, that's a big thing even for me and outside of Pokemon business. If you're looking at any kind of business opportunity, customer service is always the most difficult and the most, I want to say, damning part of the actual business, because we always say, even when it comes down to our business, in any business, word of mouth gets you 10 times further than any kind of advertisement you can put out there. You can advertise all over the place and never get recognition, but if you do a good job for one person and you follow through, you make sure you do everything correctly, and you do all the steps, and that customer will end up getting you 5 to 10 more. And then those
Yep,
5 to 10 will get
exactly.
you 5 to 10 more. And it's just a continuum. It's the same thing with even eBay TCG Player. You try and get those star ratings and keep them at 4 or 5 stars continuously on every one of your ratings. You're never going to please everybody, no matter what you do. I've got almost 400 sales now on TCG Player, and I can tell you right now, most of them are fives. But you'll always find someone that doesn't agree with whatever standard is, and sometimes it's just nothing you can do. It's the same with any kind of business practices, is that you try and work with them, you discuss with them, you talk with them, you try and smooth it over the best you can, to try and even make a bad situation, try and improve it to get something better. Customer
Mhm.
service is definitely the number one focus that you need to have. And that's where I've even talked with when you even invest in stuff or buy stuff as an investment, rapport is very important when it goes to sell this stuff.
Oh yeah, for sure.
You can buy a mountain of stuff, but if you don't have any kind of rapport, you're always selling at the bottom of the market, because you don't
Yep.
have the ratings. You got bad ratings. You got bad reviews. People don't trust you, and they won't buy it from you unless you're selling low bottom dollar. Now, if you have good
Yeah.
rapport and you have good standings, you build these accounts slowly over time and show you can do it, you'll be able to sell things sometimes over market value, because people trust you and they know they're getting what they bought. They're not getting, jerked around here or there. If I buy from, old school Pokemon, I know I'm getting this because that's what he'll send me. I'm not even questioning it. And that's important.
Yep. Yeah, definitely very important. Reputation goes a very long way.
Yeah. It's the same in the hobby in general. I mean, it's just amazing how much that works. And I,
Yep.
and this is a perfect example why I put these make or break moments in it, because everybody kind of has one at some point in time inside of their business, whether they want to continue to push forward through it, or is it just time to quit and maybe redirect sometimes. Sometimes that's you'll see a business
Mhm.
avenue and then, oh, I changed because I couldn't find a way to make it through this path, but I wanted to continue somewhat, so I went this way instead. So that's where it's
Yep.
always kind of interesting to hear from individuals where that happened and what they did to get through it to change it. So, and thank you for
Mhm.
that, because sometimes those can be kind of touchy with how people take them.
Oh yeah, for sure, for
You know,
sure.
some people don't want to put that out there, what may have caused that or what happened.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Um, so now we made it to that one. We're gonna go on to the seventh question, which is, what is one mistake that you made that you could advise other people's to avoid?
Uh not not getting into not falling behind, I guess. That is something that I've done recently, and I'm trying to unbury myself from. So, obviously we had 2020 mania. 2021 was also pretty much a mania, and then 2022 things started to cool down, and so I thought that there were, and there were in some cases, a lot of good buying opportunities. So 2022, I was buying collections nonstop because I was always on Facebook and looking for these different collections to buy. And so I'd be buying these collections, taking out like the top like 10-20% of cards, getting those listed, and then kind of setting back the bulkier parts of that collection and saying I'll get to it eventually. And I just kind of repeated that cycle, taking out the good stuff, setting back the bulk, and never actually getting to the bulk. And so now I'm at a point where I have an overwhelming amount of bulk stuff that I need to sort through and get listed and get organized and all that stuff. So I'm trying to work my way through all of that stuff right now, and it's just so overwhelming that I wanna get through it all and then get to a point where I buy one collection, completely go through it, get everything listed, and then look into buying the next collection, just so that way I'm not overwhelmed myself. And I think that is definitely important for most people, is to just not get yourself in a position where you're super overwhelmed and you can't possibly go through everything that you have. Backlogs are nice to some extent, but at the same time they can also add a lot of stress to your business.
Yeah, and I did the exact same thing. Not even gonna lie. When the boom was going on, I was opening packs. We were doing pack breaks. We were, having fun. We were doing all this stuff, spending money, flipping things, changing things, buying collections because, I could source a collection really cheap, break it down, get that top 20%, all the ultra rares, hollows, and all them out of there that were valuable. And you just kept packing up like boxes behind me of stuff. And it got to a point where, like I said, March of this year, I was looking at the pile and I went, I got to do something with it. It's either I got to just ship it or I got to get through all this and then find out if there's any value in that stuff. And, like I said, the market cooled down enough to where decisions did need to be made in a couple hours. We're now back to where you can actually sit back a lot of times and just take a couple days to think about something. You go, do I want to do it? Do I want pros and cons? You get time to weigh things out. It isn't like you got to be doing impulse in order to be able to get what you want or stay ahead of everything that's happening, which means now I had to go through all my bulk, kind of like you sounds like you got yourself in the same place. The only difference is I only had about 20,000 cards, and you're probably way over that number. That, and I have three kids, so it's like, here, just start putting them, alphabetizing them.
Yeah, exactly. Luckily, I bought one of the magic sorters a while back, and that thing has been so nice trying to clear through my backlog. Absolutely love that thing.
And that's that's what Josh from Old Card Shop was showing, that he has that sorter that does that, or is yours different?
I don't know if he does have one.
He just bought a sorter too. Does it kind of puts a stack of cards?
I didn't know about that. That's awesome.
Yeah, he was showing it on his Instagram or TikTok. Maybe on TikTok he was showing it off. But yeah, he has. Okay. Yeah, he bought a sorter a while ago that he was showing off because I know Mason said he needs to get
it. Mason's already got 2 Rokas. He doesn't need a new one.
So here, you got 2 employees. Go do this for me.
Exactly. So. The Roka is like the BMW. I have like the Hyundai version of the Roka.
Sometimes it gets a flat tire every now and then, and the exhaust pipe might fall off, but it works. It gets through it. Gets me to work.
Exactly.
So yeah, no, I mean that's kind of, I've been looking at those, but it's like I don't do enough to justify it yet. But even 20,000 cards, it chews through that pretty quick before it was kind of sitting there again. But no, I mean definitely them are things that are important, especially as you get bigger, things to try and simplify and make things go quicker, more efficient is definitely a big factor. And, you know, maybe what I can do is look that up too for some of the people that are bigger that are looking for some of that stuff. Put a link down for that particular, because I've looked at that one, and I might put a link for that down in the description below too. So that way people could take a look at that to try and ease themselves in a little bit when they're going
Exactly.
through stuff.
That's the biggest thing is the Roka is definitely like the top of the line machine. I like the Magic Sorter. The cost is very attractive. It's still expensive,
Yeah.
but it's definitely more attractive than the Roka Sorter. And it does do a really good job. It's nice that you can have it running constantly if you want to. And you're able to do other stuff while it's sorting through cards. Takes a lot longer than it would sorting through hand, but it is nice so you can do other stuff while the machine's working.
Well, yeah, that's just it. I mean, if you could go on autopilot and be able to go do something else, it's like myself.
Yep.
It's sitting down and going through all this stuff is just time consuming. And like I said, luckily I have 3 kids who they're learning their letters.
Oh, you got your own robots.
I was gonna say I got my own little robots. They just sit there and go. I just gotta go and collect them and put them in the box.
Yours might be a lot more expensive though.
Yeah, I would think that the Magic Sword or even the Roka at that point would probably be cheaper than going that option. Just FYI for anybody out there having kids to sort your cards. Definitely the expense that's the Porsche version of it, or Lamborghini version, and they don't always work as well. They sporadically just quit working for a long period of time. Just FYI.
Yeah.
And the robot does talk back, so be careful.
I don't have to worry about any of that with mine, which is nice.
Yeah, your machine's not talking back to you.
Nope.
All right, so now we're down to number 8. Number 8 is going to be number 1 most important thing if you are in a Pokemon business. So, for example, I have on here community, networking, family backing you. What would you say is the most important thing for your Pokemon business?
There's a lot of stuff. The biggest thing, I guess personally, is definitely the family aspect backing me, because it is very challenging. And as much as I like doing this, there are definitely times where it's more work than I want to do that particular day. And there's definitely bad days that you have with this. So it's nice to be able to kind of lean on them for support and have them encourage you to continue and that kind of stuff. So that's definitely the biggest aspect for me. Just kind of like from a mental health standpoint, I guess. And then as like a business standpoint, talking about the business, I think consistency is one of the biggest things, which that is something that, again, not everyone's going to be perfect with. I'm definitely included within that. But whether that be like on eBay, consistently listing new inventory, that's a really big one. If you're selling on eBay or even TCG Player, consistently listing new inventory, so that way your followers and people who shop in your store frequently consistently see that you're adding new cards, and you're able to generate those sales more regularly. And then even like on social media, whether that be through Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, wherever you are on social media, it's not so much the quality of your content, in my opinion, unless you're looking to be someone like a huge YouTuber. It's not so much the quality of your content, but it's how consistent you are with uploading your content or posting pictures or whatever the case may be. People want that consistency versus just to some extent the quality of it. And that's one area that I've been slacking with, is on YouTube, uploading videos consistently.
That's a big factor to it, and especially for any kind of business, is just consistently doing advertising, being on social media, My wife does an at-home business, and that's what she even preaches to me because I'm bad. I'll get busy, and it's just like, just skip it. And she'll come up and hit me on the back of the head going, no, post, post, post. Because if you don't, it's amazing how quickly, just for example, YouTube, the algorithm will just drop you. And it's like,
Yep.
then you got to sit there and have 3 good videos realistically to get it back, to catch the algorithm, and then you got to continually pump to try and get back on that wave again. And I always said YouTube's like waves. The more you're consistent, the more you can ride the wave and continue to grow. The second that you miss a video, you can miss one every so often, and it really doesn't seem to affect. But when you start missing, like I missed a week because everything was just packed into way too much time, and it's like something's got to give. And YouTube's fun, but it ain't making me the money. It's not going to pay the bills at the end of the day. So sorry, YouTube, you're going to have to wait a week. And it did affect. I mean, I'm still, that was about 4 weeks ago, and I'm still, as a channel, feeling the effects of that. It's been really slow trying to get back onto that wave, and it's coming. I mean, it's catching up now that I've been consistently posting, but I said I'm afraid to miss another video because it'll just dump me again. So, and that's YouTube. I mean, and in a business aspect, it's the same thing. If you're not continually in front of people and you're not continually involved, out in front of people consistently, then people forget that you're there. And that's a big factor too in the business aspect, even for us.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's why people always wonder, well, why do you spend money on the parade? And why do you spend money on the, as a business, HVAC business, we're constantly advertising. You sponsor this event. You're in the flyer for this event. You're constantly in the newspaper. Yep. And they say, well, newspapers don't work. Yeah, but you'd be surprised, even in a newspaper, how much consistent business you have because you're consistently every week you're in that newspaper, and people continually see you, and they remember that they see you there every week, and it shows that consistency that you're there, and that you're available.
Exactly. Yep. Exactly.
So yeah, I can definitely agree with that one. Consistency is very important in any business aspect that you're going into. Full-time, part-time, even if it's just a hobby. If you're not consistent, it's going to be really difficult to continue seeing any kind of growth in it.
Yep.
So, all right, moving on to number 9. Knowing what you do now, would you still start your Pokemon business if you were the way you have, if given a redo?
100% on that one. I started out, like I said, in the beginning to 2009-ish, and I've since expanded from there. Obviously, I started out with WotC. It was always singles, from the hollows to the rares, the uncommons, the commons, and I've since expanded into other sets and other generations. But it's pretty much stayed the same for me, where I'm still selling single cards. I still like to do the quantity over quality stuff. So I would 100% keep everything the same way that I did. Obviously there's some like collections that I wish I had bought back in the day. I wish I had gotten into grading earlier on, but overall I like the way I have started and grown my business, and so I would definitely do everything pretty much the same way if I had to redo everything.
Yeah, I mean, there's always that I wish I would have bought something, or I wish I would have done something,
Yep.
But overall it wouldn't have changed the path that you've done your business. I mean, that's just typical for any kind of business. You always wish you would have done this move and I would have been more successful, or I would have more of inventory I was looking for. But overall, I mean, from what I've heard so far in the series, it seems like I've had one person in this question said they would have completely changed. And other than that, most people are very happy with the directions that they've made and the choices they've made and how their business is laid out for them. Because let's be honest, when you choose a path and you kind of start working for it, and especially in something like Pokemon, it's your path. So
yep, exactly.
Typically you chose it, and this is the way I wanted to go. This is how I wanted everything to lay out. I worked for it. Yeah, I spend this many hours, a lot of time doing it, but it's exactly how I laid out the bricks to do this. And that's the important thing is, once again, with this paths, it's just interesting to hear how everybody does it, where they started and where they've gone. And then to find out, no, I wouldn't have changed a darn thing. This is exactly how I wanted it to be from start to finish. Yeah, I would have bought something more. Yeah, I would have maybe done this sooner, but overall, I still like the way that my path turned out. And that's the important thing at the end of the day.
Yep, exactly. And yeah, you get whether you're collecting or running a business, gotta be having fun. And if you're not having fun, then maybe it is time to switch something up and do something differently. But if you are having fun, why try and fix something that's not broken? As long as you're doing it, able to, if it's a business and you're making money with it, why change it if you're having fun with it?
Exactly. I mean, if it's what you want and it's your business, it's your path. If it's your hobby and it's your path, why change it?
Mm-hmm.
What
Yep.
would it be unless you really, really aren't happy with the position you got and you did take the wrong turn in your path? Most people are going to say, no, I wouldn't change a thing. This is exactly how I wanted it. And it just
Yep.
shows, like I said, it just shows that you can choose your path and build it how you want. Even this series, it's designed to show that there's, even you, Dan, anybody could have the same goal, but you've both taken completely different paths to get to it, and everything is
Yep.
possible depending on what you want it to look like on your vision at the end of it.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
So even Josh, all three of you, I mean, talking to you, completely
Yep.
different paths, but you all kind of have the same goal of being a full-time at-home business. You're doing everything at home, you're doing what you want, you do what you love. You've all gone different ways to get there.
Yep. Yep. That's one of the coolest things about Pokemon is there are so many different opportunities for business, and nobody is doing everything. I like to focus on the bulk. Dan likes to focus on graded cards. Some people like to focus on Japanese cards. There are so many different avenues that you could go into with Pokemon, and nobody could possibly do every single one of them.
No.
So you're kind of in competition with each other running Pokemon businesses, but they're always so separated that it's not like you're directly competing with someone for the most part.
Exactly, and there's just so many ways to do it. I mean, there are thousands of different lanes on this highway, and you can pick any one of them that you want to fall into. And
Yep.
the nice thing is that having people like you come into this podcast and have this discussion is just to see your experiences and kind of show how you've done it. But realistically, nobody's going to follow your exact path. Nobody's going to take your exact route. They may get a glimpse at what you do and how you do it and how you've become successful at it. But when you start, you're going to learn really quick that your path becomes your own. Even if you try and follow everything you did, it's never going to line up to being the same. So you're going to end up taking your
Yep.
own directions, your own paths. But it's a good outline to see how did someone do it before me and what are my options.
Yeah. Exactly. Exactly.
Well, once again, Nick, we've made it through the 9 questions. Once again, it's great that you could join us and be on the channel. As I told you before, I did get some additional questions because I always have this ad discussion and additional questions after. And these came from my interview with Pokemon Classics. He had some good questions, and I gave them to you beforehand just so you could think about them a little bit. And I don't know if you've taken the chance to think about them during this discussion, but first question I got from Pokemon Classics was, is there anything that gets too repetitive in what you do?
Definitely. Um, Packaging orders. If it's tough because I don't think I could ever get to the point where I have an employee because I am very controlling and I like everything done a certain way. But if I found a second me who I could hire as an employee, that would be the first thing that I get rid of is packaging. It is so monotonous just sitting there every single day packing orders, and it's never ending either because every single day orders are coming in, which is a good thing. It means you're making money, but I hate packaging. I that's definitely the worst part about the business is packaging orders every single day, and especially usually I average about 50 orders a day. 50, 60 orders a day is about typical for me, which is a lot. But at this point, I've kind of become numb to that many orders, and it's just a typical day for me. But come Monday after the weekend, or Tuesday after a long weekend, it is a I hate those days, having to
Mhm.
package all those orders.
Yeah, when you come home,
So that
come
that
in.
is definitely the worst part right there.
Oh look, I got 200 orders! Hooray! After, yeah, no, I get that even for the small orders I do. You know, and you come in and it's like you got 15 of them in one day, and it's like I got to sit here. And luckily, like I said, I got my wife, so she usually has all the labels done because I print
That's
the
nice.
label. I print the labels. I have these little brown envelopes, so let me grab one.
The
So I
the
bought
shipping shields.
Well, I bought these. They're just a little brown envelope that I put everything in. So I've
Oh,
got
okay.
and all I do is the only reason I do that is that way I can pack multiple orders and just write them out, write them down before I put them in there. So they're all collected. They're
Yeah.
in there. She'll get them all written out because I put the number on the top of the corner of it. So that way it just matches the processed order to the number on the top, and that way I can just follow through and grab it, throw it in the envelope, and then I know we're good to go. When I get all the cards in the envelope, I seal it so I know it's a complete order.
Yep. There we go. There we go.
So, but she gets all that ready for me, luckily, and then I come home and start pulling orders. But yeah, I could definitely see how if you were doing 60 plus orders a day, that would get by yourself. That would get pretty monotonous at a point.
Yeah.
Someday you just wish you came home and there was no orders. Yeah, please no. Nope, never mind. They're there.
Yep. Yep.
But
Luckily, there's a lot of YouTube content to listen to while I do
yeah,
that every morning. That's the bright side of that. Is I'm able to keep up with all the Pokemon podcasts and all of that stuff.
yeah, and that's you get a chance to catch up and zone out. Hopefully not too much where you make
Exactly.
mistakes. That's the biggest part. Man, 60 orders.
Oh, that definitely happens too. That definitely happens
Yeah,
too.
shipped the wrong
There
order.
there there are days where I don't I basically I have my iPad and I look at every order. And so I'll look at one order, I'll pull that card, put it into a top loader or whatever the case may be, and then I'll make stacks of PWE orders, bubble mailer orders, and graded cards. So I make three stacks and I stack everything up. And usually with the PWE orders, because they're all so similar, either 1 ounce, 2 ounce, or 3 ounces,
Mm-hmm.
there are times where maybe usually it's like a blank envelope print. So I'll go print all my PWEs, and there's a stack of PWEs, and usually it's a time where there's a blank envelope somewhere in that stack, and I'm putting cards into envelopes, sealing them up, going along with my business, not noticing that I put a card in a blank envelope.
Oh, and then
And
the whole
so go through
list.
the whole stack, get to the end, and there is one left envelope that has someone's address on it, and I don't have any more cards left. So then I gotta go back and try and figure out what happened. So there's definitely days like that.
Yeah, that's I could see. Yeah, like I said, with that many orders, it could definitely be very easy. Like I said, 15. I found a good system that works for about 15 to 20 orders a day. But yeah,
Yeah.
once again, that's where I've got the brown envelopes. I put them in there. I know that these are the numbers, and then I don't seal the envelopes until I'm completely done. I mean, I make sure everything's done, and then
That's probably the good way to do it.
yeah, I
That's
just
probably
put
the good
everything
way
in
to
the
do it.
envelope, and then I just, I seal them when everything's in the envelopes because now I know everything's in where it belongs. We're good to go. Then I can seal these things.
That way you can avoid those mistakes.
Yeah, we don't have to reprint envelopes and go through all that and make new labels and stuff. So yeah, no, that's been the
Yeah,
best process. Is just
exactly.
don't seal them up because I've done that too. You get done and you've got one envelope and no cards, and you're going, oh no, where, where did I mess up?
Yep.
So no, I get that one. So next question that Pokemon Classics had for us, and I thought was a really good one, was strangest thing that's ever happened on eBay Live.
So, talking about my lives specifically, two things. One was very frustrating. The other was just kind of kind of funny, but not. Also, so the first one was my first few eBay lives. I had one buyer in there purchasing a lot of cards, and he was talking about how he, without getting too specific, so in case people realize who the buyer is, he was basically talking about how he shouldn't be spending money on Pokemon, yet he was buying a ton of cards
Yeah, just
in my
constant.
first couple of live streams. And so I shipped out the cards to him from the first two lives, because it was like a Friday and Saturday. So come Monday, I shipped all his orders out to him. And when he received his orders, of course, I got a eBay, nice little eBay return request, and I do offer returns. So he literally opened up a return on every single one of the cards that
Oh,
he ordered, with a nice little email saying, "Oh, I was drinking these nights. I really can't afford this stuff. Blah blah blah."
I'm
So
surprised eBay would allow him to do that.
seriously,
I mean, if
seriously,
I mean, if he returned one, okay, but to return multiple orders, that should be a red flag. eBay should be stepping in on that one, going, no, you purchased these, they're your babies now. Unless there's a legitimate
exactly.
dispute, if something's broken or, I didn't get the right order, then I get that. But to have 20 orders and then dispute all of them, that should be a red flag to eBay.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. That was rough. That was rough right there. I take the free returns because I think it does help with like that customer service aspect.
Hmm.
People feeling comfortable buying from you, knowing that they can return the card if they, for whatever reason. But cases like that are just super super frustrating. So that was kind of the negative one, and then the kind of funny one was I was opening packs for someone, and the person bought five. It was like 5 or 6 packs of Crown Zenith and Brilliant Stars, and so I was opening packs for them, and they did not pull a single hit card.
Oh,
It was literally not. I think maybe a hollow, but it was mainly like non-hollow rares.
ouch.
And when that happens, I truly feel bad for the person, because as the seller, I'm making the same amount whether you pull something really good or if you get completely skunked.
Yep.
So I want everyone to pull alt arts,
Yeah.
because I'm still making that 3 4.99 a pack. So the more people who pull good cards, the better off I'm going to be. So I opened 5 or 6 packs for this one person who's a regular in my stream, and did not pull a single thing. So I actually gave him a few free packs of Crown Zenith, and I think I opened. I told him we'll open Crown Zenith until you get a hit. Whatever you get first, you can have. So I think I opened 2 more packs with non hollows in them, and then the third pack, we actually pulled the Giratina V Star.
Oh, very
So
nice.
that was awesome. It gave him that card, and he was beyond excited about that one.
Very nice. Yeah, I mean, it's weird that you could go that far with Crown Zenith, though, without getting some kind of hit. Boy, that is
Seriously.
bad luck. But I mean, even I had a bad ETB with Dan. I laugh because Crown Zenith came out and Dan was doing a sale when he was doing. That was like right when he was starting to do the live openings. So you bought an
Yep.
ETB and he'd open the ETB on his live and then send it to you. So I
Mhm.
already purchased a couple ETBs and I purchased one through Dan just because I figured I'd have fun. And I always laugh because whenever
Yeah.
I buy something online, I never hit in it. I don't care what pack it is. It could be like the one that's, oh, you're guaranteed a hit in like 2 packs. No, not a chance. Um, so same thing. I opened 2 ETBs here. I got like the Zamazenta V, the Zacian V. I got all these nice hit cards. And I laugh because I keep the card out here just to remind me that the only thing that I got out of Dan's, the one I bought from Dan,
Oh boy.
was that. I got I got the ditto, the cow dittos. I'm like, really? I
Yeah.
opened two ETBs and nail all this stuff out of the two I opened, and opened Dan's, and Dan opened the one on his live, and I got a ditto. I'm like, oh.
It's like the worst card right there.
And it was funny because Dan even said on there, "This is the worst ETB I've opened yet." I'm like,
Figures.
I didn't even have to watch. I knew whose that was. I'm like, yeah, it's my luck.
Oh, yeah.
That's why I said I should just stop doing the pack buying online, but I still do it. It's fun. It's exciting. I like to support people, and it's just it's a good time to be involved with it. So, but it's just like I said, if I buy it online, I'm not winning. I guarantee I ain't getting anything out of this.
Opening packs is still one of the best parts about the hobby. I absolutely love opening packs, and
Yeah.
another rough opening, which was I did my first eBay Live box break the other day, and it was a team up booster box.
Okay.
And I was really excited for it because I figured Team Up would be a really good set because of all the hype going around with the tag teams and the Latios and Latios and all of the stuff going on right now. So I decided to do a box break for Team Up, and I should have done a little bit more research because I was thinking 12 hits per box for Team Up, which that is far from the truth.
Yeah, it's like 6, isn't it?
There's usually only 6 hits per box for Team Up.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I remember Team Up was a really rough hit rate.
Yeah. we actually only pulled 5 hits. It was 3 ultra rares, some decent full art trainer, and then the full art Gengar and Mimikyu. So that was a good hit.
Yeah, you got the Gengar and Mimikyu.
But everything else was like brutally tough. And that was a rough opening right there. I felt bad for the people in that stream.
Yeah. That's the worst part about it is that you really do feel bad, and it's like, but there again, I don't understand, the price of that booster box. People think that the cards, take team cards, are really expensive in that set, and it's like, but it's well justified. They like to compare it to Evolving Skies, and it's like take team is well justified for them prices because you only get 6 hits per box, and those hits aren't necessarily what you're looking for any of the actual good tag team hits. Like the Gengar Mimikyu is really difficult. The Latios hit is really difficult. And there's a reason those cards are pushing that high in price is because, the box is expensive, number one. But in relativity, the cards are following pretty nicely with suit with that particular box. Now, if you look at Evolving Skies, that's always my issue is even with the Moonbrand. I think the booster box is probably well priced for the demand of the cards inside of it for a Sword and Shield set. But the Moonbrand being the price it is still concerns me a little bit because to me that thing is really inflated for the pull rate of that. Even the pull rate of it, I get it. It's like 2,000 packs to get that card, but overall, there are so many other opportunities in that box that are doing extremely well too, and the other ones are doing really, really nicely at that point also. So, comparing the two is not really a fair comparison because number one, Tag Team got short printed. Number two, the pull rates are extremely hard in those boxes. 6. I've heard the most pulls that you get out of a box like 7 of Tag Team. So, I mean, you're talking 5 to 7, and that's rough when you're talking a box like that. 5 to 7 pulls is just. Can you imagine on any modern booster box if you only pulled 7, what the outrage would be?
Exactly.
That's like a V or better. If you pulled only 5, imagine pulling 5 hits, and 4 of them being equivalent of a V, and then you get 1 V max. I mean, that's about the equivalent of a tag team box because you aren't guaranteed a tag team.
Pretty much, yeah.
I think you get 1 tag team per box. I think is guaranteed. If I remember, you pulled a tag team on your box, didn't you?
We did pull the tag team. Yeah. We pulled a good one. We pulled a good one at least.
Yeah, but I think every box has 1 tag team in it. If I remember right, 1 guaranteed tag team in it. and then the rest are
Yeah,
just
I
the
went
alternate.
back. I went back and actually watched a few videos after our opening to see if that was right. 'Cause that seemed extremely low to me. But yeah, it is on average about six pulls or six hits a box, and there is the videos that I saw, at least there was one tag team per box.
I just always remember that was kind of the deal. Is this one tag team per box, and it's about 6 hits on average.
Yep.
So, but that's what I mean. You're getting pretty much 4 Vs and then one, one V max, two alternate art equivalent. It's like that's
Yep.
pretty
Yep.
rough. So,
Yeah.
no,
Yeah. For
it's
sure.
just it's interesting. Some of the boxes and some of the things even historically with Pokemon that's available, and like you said, sometimes it probably makes you feel bad when you're selling these packs. But I mean, realistically, most of the people that were buying those packs probably knew the risk, in some way, shape, or form.
Yep.
If they're spending that kind of money on packs to be opening it live, they probably understand the risks that are involved with those particular packs.
Yeah. Exactly.
It's
Exactly.
it's just like buying a base set, booster pack. You understand that you might be paying $700 for this pack, and the chances are is that 13 out of 36 have a hollow in it. So
Hmm.
your chances are pretty low of hitting what you want. So
And then your hollow could be a PSA 8 too.
oh yeah, I mean it got shipped too many times and it's all scuffed up. Oh yeah, I mean it's pretty common, especially in the vintage packs, especially how they were stored, how they were moved, how they were shipped, how many storage units it sat in at 150 degrees. It all varies how much the quality is that comes out of those particular packs. Plus, like
Yep.
Jungle was never good quality to begin with. Like I don't know how anybody even found 10s out of that to start out with. I think PSA's
Those
forgiving.
cuts were brutal.
Oh, them cuts. I mean, Jungle was bad. I don't think I ever opened a good pack of Jungle, to be honest with you, that didn't have it all chewed up. I think
Yep. Yep.
I almost fell over
Uh,
laughing because PokeRev was doing like memes on Facebook, and it was he was doing that like 2 years ago. I was just laughing because he was showing that like one of the old wood saws, like the rotary wood saws, this is what they use to cut Jungle cards. It's like I think so. I think that's exactly what they use. The chainsaw. They just
I can believe it. I can believe it. And it seems they've busted out those old antique saws for Scarlet and Violet here.
oh, that was rough too.
I don't know. I don't know. Have you opened up any Scarlet and Violet or Paldea?
I've opened Paldea Evolved. Yeah, I actually got a
How
whole
was your print quality?
pretty crappy. I'm actually looking because I
Yeah,
think I
yeah.
got them here on the. I actually got a bunch of them here on the centering was horrible on a lot of them. Yeah, like even this. So I've got
Okay.
because Jacob and I opened some the other day, and it's all the corners have like little dings on them. I see
Yeah,
like
that was the biggest thing for me. Little dings on the
little.
corners,
That's
whiteness.
yeah.
Centering was decent on mine.
So like
It was still an issue, but it was mainly the dings on the corners
yeah,
and whiteness on the corners.
on the edges I've got like a bunch of them that have like little nicks out of them on the hollows, especially on the
Yeah.
the hollows especially. Hollow centering was fairly good. I guess I'm looking at them.
Mhm.
Because I'm just kind of going through my stack here. I got the hollows and reverse hollows here in a stack, but a lot of the hollows just have little, and it's always almost in the same spot right above the HP. So
Interesting.
I'm just looking through here. I've got this one's right above the H. This one's right above the H on the HP on the top. This one's clean. This one's clean. But now I'm here down to my bosses. No, boss order's clean. Yeah, this one's right above the H. So it's just right above the H, kind of almost just a little bit to the left of the H on mine, are consistently
Oh,
the same
okay.
ding right through these. Yep, same thing on this one.
Interesting.
So that's on the hollows, anyways. But the
Yep.
Gyarados. Yeah, Gyarados is on the corner on that one, so that's a different spot. But then we pulled this gold. Yeah, it's on a different spot. But quality wise, yeah, I mean it wasn't great. I would say for
Yep.
recent sets, this is probably one of the worst ones for overall. So even the secret, so we got the gold card here. And that one's even got a small ding on the corner. And that went right in the sleeve. And yeah. No,
It's
nothing.
crazy. I feel like I don't know how Pokemon has gone backwards because I don't know about you, but I was talking about it in one of my videos that I actually uploaded. I feel like Silver Tempest and Crown Zenith had really good print
Mm-hmm.
quality, and then we fell off a cliff for Scarlet and Violet. Scarlet and Violet was absolutely terrible. Paldea Evolved has gotten a little bit better, but it's still terrible. So I don't know. I don't know what happened there. Doesn't make any sense to me.
No, it doesn't. I mean, but I'm actually looking at the commons while you were talking there, and the commons look pretty clean. So I don't know if they're having issues with because now that holofoil goes all the way out to the edges on the reverses and or no, just
Yeah,
the hollows now. They all kind of go out to the edges, so it really shows any kind of imperfection, which may be part of the problem.
that is true.
Now you got the hollow, so here's one that's got a little mark. But I mean, overall, I'm looking through the comments here, and they're fairly clean. I'm
Mhm.
not seeing much dings or scratches on them. Here's one that's got a little bit of whitening on the back. You can see it. What I've been seeing is a lot of spots. That's what I've been seeing on the commons. Like the printing is missing a dot.
Oh, okay. I didn't notice
So
that.
if you look at the backs,
I haven't spent too much time looking through mine yet.
yeah. So you're not going to be able to see it, but like right on the edge on the blue here, there's a white
Hmm.
speck where it didn't there's no ink
Okay.
there.
Yep.
So
Yep.
that's been something I've been seeing on it was really bad on Scarlet and Violet actually. I saw it on a lot of common cards with that like white
Yep.
dots around the edges. And now Paldea Evolve, I didn't see it as bad, but it's definitely still like that. I could still find a couple of them here and there that have it. So,
Yep.
so it is still happening, but it's not as bad in Paldea Evolve. But I think that hollow all the way out to the edges might be causing him an issue when it comes to processing.
That is true. I didn't think about that being an
I'm
issue.
just gonna look
Maybe
at.
it is something like that.
Never looked at the Japanese
Hopefully,
because I got some Japanese
hopefully.
news here.
Oh, I heard 151 has some print issues with Japanese,
I've heard that too.
which that surprises me. Even my I don't know if you got any of the did you get any of the Nagaba evolutions? Mine they weren't the typical like guaranteed 10 copies. There were definitely some issues with the ones that I got anyway.
Yeah, I didn't get any of them. To be honest with you, I'm probably gonna end up having to get the Flareon just because I need it for my collection. But overall,
Yeah, yeah.
I'm not a big fan of the artwork. I know some people are.
I don't like it.
I don't like it.
Jolteon, I think looks decent. That's probably my favorite one.
Yeah,
The most expensive one, the Umbreon, I think that one looks ugly. I do not like that one at all.
I don't like I said. I didn't like very many of them. I would skip it personally if it was. I don't even. I go on the fence back and forth on it. People that have asked me if I invest into it or am I investing into those or buying those for an investment purposes, and not really. Um,
Yeah.
it's going to be such a niche investment that it's either it's going to be one of those ones that's going to hit just because it's so niche, or B, it's going to never hit because nobody's going to have interest in it. Once after 5 years, is someone going to have interest in that? And
Yeah. Yeah.
right now, everybody, anytime something new pops up, it's like everybody, like chickens, they all fly over to that particular item and make YouTube videos of how great this content is and how spectacular this is going to be. But, in general, by looks wise, I just don't see it. I mean,
Mhm.
I personally don't see it. I wouldn't want it. And like I said, the only reason I'm even going to get the Flareon is because I need it for my collection. So
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
kind of cornered into buying it if I want to complete my collection now. So you're pinning me down, man. You're pinning me down into buying this thing.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Yeah,
So
it'll be it's tricky to see to know what'll happen with those. the Pikachu has done well.
Done well.
That was like 50, $60 in a 10 before the announcement of the evolutions.
Yeah.
Uh, and then with the announcement, it's jumped up to like 80, $90. So I definitely think that'll come back down a little bit. But
I was gonna look that up. When did that one come out though?
I want to say 21, maybe.
I was gonna say it was like early 20, mid 21 there.
I think it was around then.
I don't remember when it was for sure. I knew it when it came out, and I do have two of them in my binder over my collection binder, but I I don't even remember when it came out personally, but I
Yeah.
just felt like, for a Pikachu card that kind of illustrate, a specialty one like that during 2021, it really didn't perform like you would think, any other card that was a specialty card at that point in time did a lot better.
No.
Even alternate arts were
Yep.
crushing that thing, and that's where I kind of wonder if that's what we're going to be seeing with these evolution cards. Yeah, there seems to be an evolution craze right now with a lot of people, but I don't know if we're going to be seeing that big of a market for those particular cards.
I can't see it. I can't see it myself.
Like like my wife.
I think there's definitely better options.
Well, like my wife says, she said it looks
I
like Jacob drew it. Just it's like you went to a kindergartner and asked them to draw, your favorite evolution, and that's what they did.
that's that's exactly it. That is exactly it. Yeah, for this artist to be so famous in Japan, it does not look it.
No, I don't get it. I wish they'd do like another crossover, like a Pikachu crossover card, like the Mario one.
Yes.
Do a
Yes,
Zelda
exactly.
one. We need a Zelda Pikachu.
Cool. That would be cool.
Or
That would be nice.
Metroid. Do a Metroid crossover. Put him in the suit.
There we go. I want I would like a Donkey Kong one.
That would be good. Donkey Kong
That was my
Pikachu.
game on the N64. I don't know how it would quite look, but that was my game on the N64. So I would love that.
So
that and Pokemon Stadium. So getting a nice combination of those two would be perfect for me.
yeah, I spent a few hours on Pokemon Stadium, that's for sure.
Yep.
Well, like I said, that's all I have for tonight. Overall, that's the question list. Like I said, thank you for your time as always that you came on and shared your path and your journey so far in the Pokemon TCG. Do you got anything else that you'd like to add to the end here?
No, nothing else that I can think of. Really appreciate you having me on. Always nice. We haven't had the opportunity to actually talk face to face before, or I guess computer to computer before. So definitely nice to be able to sit down and talk with you for sure.
Yeah, I mean, we've been in enough chat groups and other places together, but never really face to face in person. So it was a nice conversation and nice to actually meet you and hear your full story, which is, what I like to hear a lot of times is just the stories that people have and how they've gotten to where they've gotten to so far in the Pokemon TCG. So once again, thanks for stopping in and stopping on the podcast, going over your journey, going over all the things that you've done in the Pokemon TCG and what's made you successful to where you are today.
Yeah, absolutely. One question I did have for you am I going to be seeing you at any collecticons at any point soon?
I was
any in-person events?
I was going to be lining one up here. Do you have anyone that you're going in particular yet? I was going to try and line one up here.
I absolutely love those events. They're a great time. So I've been trying to do a decent bit of them. The next one I'll be at is Long Beach, and then Charlotte shortly after that, and then Houston in November.
Okay. The one in Charlotte was the one that I was looking at going.
Oh, okay. So maybe I'll see you there then.
Yeah. My wife and I were actually talking about going down to Charlotte because that's close to where my grandma actually lives down towards that area. So we were talking about
Oh,
going to
perfect.
Charlotte and then kicking over and going visit her for a long weekend and then come back.
Nice, nice, nice little family trip. There we go.
Yeah, get a chance to see grandma. I haven't seen her for probably about a year and a half now, so it'd be good to go visit her real quick and then, like I said, hit the Collecticon and go meet some people, see who's all there, and maybe meet some people face to face. I didn't make them to any of them last year just because the one everybody went to happened to be in October, which is really bad timing for me to go someplace. between between the heating business and the farm, yeah, no, that month just never works to go anywhere. But you know, I would have loved to have gone to Denver because I lived in Denver for 5 years, so I would have loved to have gone back and
Yep, yep.
gone places and gone meet some people that I haven't seen in a few years while I was visiting there. But such is life. You can't make them all.
Well, you probably won't be able to go this year either because they planned it for that same
It's the
weekend,
same
like
weekend.
mid
I know.
October.
That's what my wife said, because she was even like be the one that she'd like to go to also, because we both have friends that still live in Denver, that Colorado
Yeah,
Springs, Denver area, and we're just like, well, it'd be a good opportunity. Once again, take a long, 4-day weekend or something like that instead of just flying in and out and spend 4 days and visit people and just kind of take a little vacation. But yeah,
yeah,
October's. I was hoping they would rearrange the schedule a little bit more when they did it, just so you could just like that, pop in and go to the different ones that you weren't able to last year.
yeah. Exactly,
So,
exactly. No, they seem to keep it pretty consistent. Same time frame for each event, which is I hear you there. A little unfortunate for sure.
yeah,
I am glad they kept the Orlando one in February because that's a nice break for me. I
yeah,
live I live in Mass, so by
yeah,
then you're sick of the winter, ready for the nice warm weather. So be able to go down for the
yeah.
weekend and hang out by the pool and have a good time. But they're always so much fun. I absolutely love going to those and definitely recommend it to anyone who can make it down to one of them.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I've gone to them in the past, and not since I've had the YouTube channel, and since COVID, I haven't been to them. But definitely,
Yep.
really, I'm interested to see how much they've grown compared to
Yeah. Yep.
pre-COVID, because even the ones locally, they were small. They've quadrupled in size. Um, I can't imagine that the big collecticons have not done the same thing. I'm sure that they're just huge compared to the last time I was there.
Yeah,
So,
no, they're getting bigger and bigger every time, and the vendor tables are selling out quicker and quicker every time.
well, that's good. I mean,
Back
that's
back
good.
in the beginning, they would last a couple of months, and then last year it would be maybe a couple of weeks that tables would last, and now this year tables are selling out in a day, less than a
Whoa.
day. It's getting wild.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy to be selling out that quickly.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Especially with the number of tables they have. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if you think about how many tables, I mean, I'm just thinking how many tables were at the big events when I was back in 2019, and it's crazy to think of they're that much bigger and that they're selling out that much faster. So, yeah, no,
Mm-hmm.
it'd be fun. So, I think that's kind of the goal right now is to hit the Charlotte one. Um, Time frame wise, if possible, we'll be going to Denver. Just depends on the season and where everything kind of lays out this summer. Because sometimes we're done in September, and then I got time to go. Northern Wisconsin weather kind of dictates that one. But the good news
That
is
is true. That
the
is
good
true.
the good news is I really don't have to find a hotel or a ride while I'm there. I can just fly in, and we know people that'll just come pick us up. So, and we can stay at their
There we
place.
go.
So I don't have to try and
Perfect.
organize
Make it make
that.
it a little bit of a cheaper trip.
Yeah. I just got to find buy the ticket for Collecticon. That's it. So that's not too bad. That's manageable.
There we go. There we go. I like it. Well, hopefully I'll see you there.
Hopefully, well, like I said, hopefully we'll see you in Charlotte for sure, and then we'll see. Maybe we'll catch in Denver if you do go that one.
Sounds good. Sounds good.
So, but all right. Well, like I said, Nick, thank you for your time. Once again, all of Nick from Old School's Pokemon stuff is going to be down below in the description. I always put all the links for him. And that way you guys can check him out. Go to his eBay sales. Check out eBay Live when he's doing his events on there. And then definitely keep up with him on the social media accounts. Once again, thank you, Nick, for joining me tonight. Taking the time out of your day and out of your busy schedule to do so and share your information with us. And once again, if you got anything else to say, anybody?
No. Thanks for having me on. Thanks to you guys listening for listening. Hope you enjoyed, and yeah, have a good rest of your night.
Yeah, you too. Well, thank you very much for joining me. And once again, guys, thank you for everybody that's been watching the channel, keeping this podcast going. Other than that, if you do like this kind of content, of course, there'll be more of these podcasts coming up in the near future. And with that being said, we'll see you next time here on Northwoods TCG.